we may disagree on this. Does this year's World Series champion have an asterisk next to their name?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so. Again, I don't know.
No, we're going to disagree because I actually do. But I'll explain myself after you explain yourself.
I mean, look, I completely understand if you do, because baseball is typically a marathon, and it's not this year.
Yeah.
It's going to be a sprint. Every pitcher, instead of starting 32 games a year, 30 to 32 games, is going to only have to start 12. They'll be fresh and ready to go for the playoffs, should they make the playoffs. You're going to have teams that typically wouldn't be able to survive a marathon that could possibly do well. The Padres, the Reds, the Pirates, teams that typically have great first halves and then collapse. And then there are teams that typically have that have bad first halves and get hot, like the Nationals last year. I wouldn't be surprised if the same thing happened in Washington again. But then this year, 60 games last year, they had 20 wins. Like it's going to be interesting. But of course, they're doing what they have to, because here's the thing, right? You don't have asterisks next to all the teams that served from World War II, when most of the big stars on a lot of teams weren't around.
But that was a full season,
right? I mean,
that's a fair argument.
You have replacement players, and I don't want to say replacement players, but you basically had minor league teams on the field. I think it's a season that is dealing with certain worldly circumstances. And it is what it is. And again, if the Yankees win it all, it's just a makeup for '94.
So yes, if the Yankees win, they don't get an asterisk. But if any of the other teams win, Ray's going to agree with me.
Yes.
No. Here's my attitude. This is my attitude on it. Is I think unfortunately the asterisk just has such a negative connotation in baseball.
Yeah.
And for some things it does. Obviously, what they did to Roger Maris was wrong, right?
Yes.
I think did they do that to Bonds or did they do that to McGuire?
They have now. Like, even in MLB The Show, this is a fun fact. When I broke the home run record, they said Barry Bonds' name isn't even in the game. They said that I broke the home run record of a San Francisco Giant player. Did not say this. Other records have the specific names of people, but Pete Rose, Barry Bonds, Mark McGuire, Sammy Sosa are not in the game at all.
It's interesting, and this is what I'll tell you, is that the reason why I think there should be an asterisk next to this year's champion is not to separate them in the sense of like negativity, but it's an understandable asterisk. It was a 60-game season during the pandemic. Mm-hmm. It's, to me, this one's like when a series was canceled, like in 1919, they canceled the Stanley Cup final, so there's no winner, and there's a huge asterisk there that says, canceled due to the pandemic of 1919.
Spanish flu,
or 1918, or whatever year it was, maybe 1917. But it was in the teens of the 1900s. My point is that I don't think an asterisk on this year's champion takes away from them winning the championship. I think it's just a reminder this was a shortened pandemic season, and that in my opinion, that does play into it. The 60-game season is not anything we've seen before. In fact, in lockout years, it's more than that, right? Or in half seasons, it's more than that.
Typically.
And again, I wouldn't be against asterisks on lockout years, like when the Chicago Blackhawks won it, I think in 2014. I think that was the year. Again, it doesn't have to be a negative thing. They are the Stanley Cup champion. It's just a footnote in history of like, hey, look, this was happening this year. All right, like it's important to remember that. So I don't know. It depends how you view an asterisk. If it's only negative, then I could see why you wouldn't want it there. But here's the thing: the 2020 World Series champion, the 2020 NHL champion, the 2020 NBA champion are all going to be remembered as the pandemic
COVID
champion.
Year.
Yeah. So I mean, except the only team that won't be is the Chiefs.
because they won in February.
So, my point is there's an asterisk on this no matter what, whether it's there or not. Yeah. So maybe we don't need to actually put it there. But, yeah, it was just a topic. Let us know what you think, obviously, if you're listening or watching. Like, should there be an asterisk, and what should the connotation of that asterisk be? Or should it just be something else, a footnote? That maybe asterisk is the wrong thing to have. It's maybe just a footnote that the season was shortened to 60 games due to
I think more of a footnote, because, again,
that would be fair.
An asterisk does connotate such especially in baseball, like you mentioned, such a negative connotation to it. So
I'm calling it now. The Expos are winning the World Series. What's that, Bob? There's no Expos anymore.
Because
the Yankees are winning the World Series
because of